Hello there. It's time for Most Things Kenobi.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Most Things Kenobi, a podcast about Obi-Wan Kenobi and all things Star Wars. I'm your host, LeeAnn.
And I'm your host, LeeAnn.
And this week we are reviewing the entirety of the Tales of the Jedi, which was just released. There are 6 episodes. They're all short. They're all heavy. And they all have a little snippet or little tidbit of interest to them. But man, I have some feels, which you already know.
Yeah. I know you and I haven't really talked about it too much, but
No.
what was your overall take? You watched them all at once, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, all at once.
Yeah, I did too. So when you were done, how did you feel?
Terrible.
Yeah.
Really down. Really terrible. I didn't need any of that. I didn't need any of that in my life, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's get this out of the way. It was visually stunning.
Oh, yes.
I enjoyed the stories, the storytelling. The animation is obviously a throwback to the old Clone Wars, which I am always here for.
Yeah.
But man, that shit was dark as
Yeah. Yeah, at Celebration, Filoni said, this is not Clone Wars feel good. This,
Right.
he was just don't expect to feel cheerful. These are not happy stories.
Right, and he was correct.
And he was not kidding.
No, he wasn't kidding at all. And here's the thing. I like dark.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like this. Okay, I did like some things. But I have a lot of feelings.
Yeah.
What was your overall feeling? Did you watch them all at once?
I did.
And what was your initial thought?
I feel sad and bummed to say this. I was underwhelmed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, I thought... I hate to be this person, but I felt like the storytelling was super weak all throughout.
Well, I could... Listen, I believe in the weakness unless they're going towards something, which there's only 6 episodes, so...
Yeah, but are they doing more?
Yeah, I don't know. If that's the case, then it was okay, well, that was that.
Right. So the backstory that I got at Celebration, Filoni was flying back and forth from San Francisco to LA. I believe he said for The Mandalorian. So he was he was flying a lot back and forth. So he started writing these little vignettes while he was traveling. So I don't know if he's planning to do more. These were kind of products of his imagination to keep himself entertained. And then he brought them to, I think it was is it Athena? Is one of their producers. Mm-hmm. I can't remember if it was her or the other one. There's 2 women that he brings with him to cons all the time, and they're brilliant, super smart, really interesting to listen to.
And it's not us? He didn't choose us? What is that?
If he had, I would have helped tighten some of these stories up a little bit. But he just said, I have these ideas, can we do it? And they're yeah, we'll find a way to do it. And he said, Lucasfilm, they pretty much always say, yes, we'll find a way. They don't like saying, no, that's not possible. They always try to say, yes, we'll find a way to do something. So I appreciate that. And these are beautifully made. You can tell they were done with love and care.
Yes.
And
yes.
They're kind of reminiscent to me of, Japanese films.
Oh, that's a good point. Yes.
Which makes old ones, 1940s, 1950s, the Kurosawa type stories, which makes sense because of Filoni's background, and I know he loves anime and stuff like that. So,
that puts a little perspective on it. Yes.
Yeah. So if you look at it that way, they kind of, I understand, but that doesn't mean I liked them necessarily.
Well, I I could have envisioned it like this. Do 6 episodes on the beginning of Ahsoka. Then season 2, do 6 episodes on the beginning of Dooku. Then season 3, do 6 episodes on, whatever else.
Yeah, they were all over the place, weren't they?
They were. I saw what they were doing because it was a progression, kind of Ahsoka is born, and then Dooku is turning.
Like, that's kind of like happening at the same time, I think. The timeline works out.
Yes. And then Qui-Gon dies, and then, we see Padawan Ahsoka with former Padawan Anakin and Mullet Wan, as in Mullet Obi-Wan. Not enough Obi-Wan, as usual.
Of course not. Like, I don't know why.
We need an Obi-Wan baby story. Please.
Seriously, this was brought up at our Patreon Halloween party. That during the Sith Lord episode, the one where Qui-Gon dies, like, Obi-Wan's in the temple there. I know the story's not about him, the story is about Dooku, but, like, we could also...
Oh, and another thing!
Yes. Journey brought this up, and she's totally right. They're contradicting their own timelines, because in the Sith Lord, Dooku is at the Jedi Temple. By that time, he's not a Jedi anymore, so why is he there? By the time the book Padawan takes place, like that newer Obi-Wan book, there's a reference in there, apparently. I haven't read it yet, but this is what I've heard. There's a reference that Dooku is no longer with the Order. Actually, that's the case in Master and Apprentice also. If you think about that book, Dooku has already left, and Qui-Gon has been trying to get in touch with him, and he won't return his calls. He's ghosting Qui-Gon.
What the f***? Okay, all right, okay.
So I'm confused why he's at the temple. Even though that was my favorite episode.
I really liked... Okay, that was probably my second favorite... I only liked 2 episodes, so I'm not going to say it was my second favorite episode, but I really liked that moment that he was like, Qui-Gon is one with the Force now, and he's looking at the tree where the leaves are falling and reminiscing, and it was very non-Dooku-ish, which I liked. I like to see that kind of stuff. All right, so let's start from the top before we get any further.
Yeah, right,
We'll go through each episode, kind of give our thoughts, see where we end up. Starting with season 1, episode 1, Life and Death. This is basically Ahsoka's beginning. Absolutely beautiful visuals.
Yeah, like I want to live in that village.
I loved the tribal elements. I loved seeing Togrutas in a different setting, kind of the village leaning on each other and celebrating together. I love stuff like that, one with nature and everything. I absolutely hated the episode. Hated it.
Yeah. Honestly, I saw it at Celebration, and it really moved me to tears, and it just goes to show you how, like, your emotions are really high at a place, like, in that situation with Celebration. And rewatching it, I kept thinking about you watching it, because I was like, this is actually pretty graphic to watch them kill an animal like that.
They didn't kill it. They didn't kill it. They let it suffer and let you listen to its breathing and then killed it. That was too... I was ready to turn it off after, like, right then. I was like, this episode. Look, I love you, Dave Filoni, but gratuitous. Okay?
Yeah.
Clarence agrees. I don't know if you heard that or not.
I didn't.
Okay. I fucking hated it. I hate anything that shows an animal like that. And, okay, put aside your personal feelings, LeeAnn. This was to show Ahsoka that in life there is death, and without death there is no life, and then without life there's no death, blah, blah, blah. Don't show me this shit. I don't come to Star Wars to listen to a pained animal heavy breathing its last breaths and then watch it get stabbed. I'm not here for that. Yeah. You can make the point without it. This episode.
Yeah, I feel the same, that they could have made the point without the animal still being alive in the grass. That was...
Just shoot it. Be dead. They didn't show the bullet going in the animal. Gee, thanks. But they showed it suffering. How cool. this episode.
That's the thing. Like, it's one thing to like, she has to get comfortable with death, and that's why she's not afraid of death, is because her mother taught her that. Like Filoni said this at Celebration. That was the whole point, was that her mother taught her that, not the Jedi. Fine. Do we have to, like, force the baby to watch the animal suffer and then, like, the mother stabs it? Like, it's different because it's not like they're killing for sport. You know, they're killing for survival.
Yes.
It's part of their life, and it keeps them alive. And, like, even to this day, if you're eating an animal, obviously it's a life that you're taking. Like, you should be showing gratitude for that. But it was still like, I don't want to see this shit. Like, couldn't you just show them fire the gun and then the animal is dead? Like, we didn't see it die. Like, that
The breathing
was
was too much. The
was really,
breathing was too much.
Yeah.
I will say that Ahsoka's mother is a fucking badass. It's very evident where she gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah, not my favorite episode. Probably my least favorite episode in this entire series.
I liked that that it was all, like, female based. You know, it was like the village elder was a woman, and that the mother is taking the young daughter out to go hunting as a rite of passage. I just like that Filoni, especially, because I've heard him say this, that, like, women can do whatever men do. And that's why he loved Lord of the Rings. You know, that was one of the reasons. And so he just doesn't write with those boundaries, and I really appreciate it. It's really refreshing.
I do too.
But at the same time, I didn't like watching an animal suffer. I don't like that. Like,
no, even if you say a prayer or they chanted a little bit before they stuck the knife in, that's fine. It's all good. Didn't need it. Don't like it.
yeah.
All right, episode 2 is titled Justice. This was heavy.
Yeah.
This was Dooku and Qui-Gon going to the village that gave me very, like, American Dust Bowl, poverty, starvation, Old West, like, silver mining towns that were low on food. Everything was gray and wasted. The dog had its spine sticking out because it was hungry.
Yeah.
These people had caved in faces looking like skeletons. This is a lot.
I thought it was funny that they had an actual dog.
Yeah,
And not some, like,
I also
some
had
Star
that.
Wars dog.
Yeah, I was like, what the f*** is an actual dog? Like,
Yeah. I didn't like this episode at all. I thought
I didn't know where it was going, why it went that way. I didn't understand. It was blah for me.
Yeah, it was very meh. And it was, like, too much condensed into they're trying to, like, tell a big idea in a very condensed story. And I don't think it was, I don't know. I was just like, why is this different than any other horrible thing they've seen?
Yeah, true.
All the senators are corrupt. This experience is the one that's, like, hitting it home for Dooku. Why? It wasn't even that particularly different, in my opinion, than any other situation we've seen.
Also, why did Dooku look like Adam Driver? I couldn't stop looking at him. He looked exactly like Adam Driver in this episode.
You're right. Now that you say that, like, looking at the also, Qui-Gon's voice was just, it was not
Strange.
right.
No.
I know it was his son, but they don't even have the same accent, and they don't have the same vocal range. Even if Qui-Gon was young, he's very clearly a teenage boy, almost in his 20s in
Correct,
this. He's huge.
And his chest was visible.
Yes. Yeah, well, it is in Phantom Menace.
Oh, it is? Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't. Okay, I didn't recall that. I was just distracted by the chest that was visible.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably, like, a little more visible here, but Qui-Gon was very breezy.
He was just very breezy in his Halloween, in his Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, my God.
Breezy even then.
I don't know. I wish they had, like, modulated the voice or, like, combined his voice with Liam Neeson's voice somehow. it was very, very hard for me to see him look really. He looked great. He looked like Liam Neeson. And then have another voice come out of him. I was just like, this is really disorienting. I didn't like it.
Liam Neeson did the voice of Qui-Gon in the other episode. So, like, he was there. Why didn't they just, like, they tweak Mark Hamill's to make him sound younger?
Yeah.
So why not tweak Liam? I don't know. Maybe they just wanted to get his son in there. And
I guess, yeah.
And it was no deeper than that, but...
Well, like, his mother was Miranda Richardson. She's passed away. And, like, he sounds more like her than Liam Neeson. So I don't know. Not to be an a-hole. But it took me out of it. Like, every time he spoke, it took me out of the experience because he didn't sound even remotely correct. But he did a fine job. But I don't know. And... Journey made a great point, too, that I laughed really hard at. When the father arrives, he just starts shooting without even knowing where his son is.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah.
And, like, if those villagers meant business for real, they'd just kill that kid as soon as the guy opened fire on them, because clearly they were making no progress. I don't know. It was just... They kidnap him, and he's on their side, but they still keep him tied up in the barn, and he's okay with it.
Oh, but I loved the droid. The 2-ton.
I did too.
What's his name? 2-ton?
It was great.
Yeah.
I didn't catch the name.
I think it was. And he was cute. If anyone out there has ever played the PlayStation game Horizon Zero Dawn and you know the Shell Walkers, it was an exact copy of what the Shell Walkers look like. So
nice.
They're just giant crabs. Like massive droid clams. So
giant
crabs, not clams, crabs. Sorry, wrong shellfish or mollusk or whatever the it's called, but I'm not an expert.
Well, okay, so that's followed up by the episode Choices, which is continuing Dooku's story a bit.
And he doesn't look as much like Adam Driver in this one because his hair is getting longer.
Yeah. And like Corey Burton, you could tell, was modulating his voice to sound younger and then get older with each new iteration. So, I mean, he's so crazy talented. It's insane. But
I did like this episode as much as I dislike Mace Windu. I can't stand Mace Windu.
I'm the same. He's just
whatever.
Well, and when Dooku said to him, like, the way you follow rules can be infuriating. And I was like, yes, that's how I feel too.
Well, I mean, there's an obvious parallel there between, like, Dooku is Anakin and Windu is Kenobi, in the way that they follow rules or not follow rules or take liberty with rules. Yeah. Obviously, much different still, but that basic theme is there. But I did love Dooku's, investigative research skills. Mm-hmm. Thought that was very good.
Yeah. That was interesting.
Had they not taken the time to do that, they wouldn't have found out, the cause of death of this Jedi.
I just think it's interesting that Dooku cared to find out and Windu didn't.
True. Well, this is why I don't like Mace Windu. He is so tunnel visioned that it's like he has blinders on at all times.
Yeah. And it's frustrating because even as like audience members, you can see possibilities that he doesn't want to see at all, because he's got his blinders on. It's really frustrating.
Yeah. And now we know how he got his seat on the council.
Yeah, that conversation was interesting when Dooku was like, did you know about that before we even went on the mission? I loved that Dooku has the spine to say that kind of shit and just not be worried about angering people. I don't think Mace Windu's the kind of person who would take advantage of somebody's death. I really don't. I think that Dooku was kind of seeing what he wanted to see there.
But I absolutely think he bad-talked or bad-mouthed Dooku when he wasn't in the room. I mean,
oh, for sure. And you see that even in Attack of the Clones.
Yes.
When Mace Windu shows up on Geonosis and he comes out, that tension between him and Dooku is still there, and you could just tell they just get under each other's skin,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He gets under my skin, honestly.
Yeah.
But I also found it interesting when they buried the Jedi, how they did it. Is that how they did it for all Jedi? They put them down in the ground and then a light shines through? Are they like cremating them?
Yeah.
Is
They're
that what's happening?
incinerating him. Mhm.
Okay.
They did that to Obi-Wan when he faked his death.
Right, but I didn't, like, I guess I didn't put it together. It wasn't so obvious to me, you know, but I loved the light because light is often associated with Jedi, with the Force. You know, we talk about it all the time on the show and in Star Wars. So I liked that.
Yeah. Well, okay, also, like, it was cool in that scene because you saw all the other Jedi who were there. And, like, Master Senube was there.
Yeah.
And I heard that Master Senube was supposed to have a bigger role. Like, he was in the later episode with Ahsoka, but he didn't speak.
No.
And that's weird because it seemed like he was training Ahsoka, not to jump ahead, but, like, Ahsoka seemed to, like, not really know him later in the Clone Wars where they had that
That's
episode
true.
together. So
Yeah, I mean, even
weird.
Jocasta Nu had a speaking role.
Oh, yeah. I don't really like her either. She's kind of like, she's like polite, rude.
Well, she's the librarian, so of course she has to be, you know. That's how I picture it. The stereotypical, like, librarian.
Yeah. It's like she's being civil, but also being kind of bitchy at the same time.
Yeah. Well, she became a Jedi and they stuck her in the archives. I would be bitter too.
Well, she was on the council, I thought, like years prior.
Oh, maybe she has to be removed.
Maybe just send me to the library for God's sake.
Please. Get me out of here.
Out of here.
Huh.
Okay, well, I liked Raxus. I thought it was beautiful. I thought the story was kind of like, again, meh, it's fine. Again, I don't know. Like, we don't know who that Jedi was that was dead. So the fact that it affected Dooku and made him emotional, like, I couldn't connect with that. I don't know who it was. I don't really know that much about Dooku. Now that we've literally, well, unless you've read Jedi Lost or whatever that book is about him, which I haven't. So
I haven't.
I don't know that much about him. I'm not that emotionally invested. I will say they made him seem more sympathetic, like a sympathetic character in this. And
Well, they humanized him.
Yeah, and you're like starting to understand a little more, I guess, but I don't know.
Whatever.
That's why I liked the next episode the most. I think the episode 4, The Sith Lord.
Yes, this was a good episode. And very dark.
Yes, oh my god. It was very dark. It was bleak. But they showed... They made Dooku seem more human because you saw that he actually really cared about Qui-Gon.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was different because other Jedi try to pretend like they don't, or maybe they don't actually have feelings. Like, think of like Luminara with Barriss.
Right. No feeling at all.
Yeah.
She could give two shits about Barriss.
Seriously, Barriss was buried alive and she's like, well, it is the will of the Force.
Yeah, we got to get going. See you later.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's insane. But yeah, I liked that scene where they showed Qui-Gon speaking to Dooku. That was cool. Mm-hmm. They made Qui-Gon look really good in the animation.
Really good.
It looked great.
And we got to see Yaddle, which is great. She's a tough
Yeah.
I mean,
I couldn't care less, honestly. And she did such a good job that I actually liked her. Like, I didn't give two shits about this character.
No, not at all.
Until now.
Like, why do we care? But now we do, in just a brief appearance.
Yeah.
She was this close to stopping.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't stand a chance. We'll say that. But she was this close. She figured it out. She took the time to follow, to understand what was going on, and then die trying to stop it. And that's very, very just respectable. All my respect goes out to Yaddle, but at the same time, what a cruel death.
Well, it's actually really similar to the animal that died in the first episode. Because, like, you think she's dead, and then she's not. And then he puts her out of her misery. And it's just like, wow, I didn't think they were going to kill her that brutally. It was bad enough that she got, like, as soon as she fell into those doors, I was like, this is not going to be good.
No, and we're going to watch it, because these are dark.
Yeah, it was very dark.
But I did love the Force theme as she's lifting the grates up, that little thing that she is, and she made like one final, stand, and then got her head chopped off.
And she was trying to appeal to Dooku, saying that like she understood, and offering him like absolution, and
like you can make all of this better by turning, and you could see him hesitate. You could see this is how it always goes with these guys that turn dark. There's always a moment hesitation, and yet somehow they're pulled into the dark side. But Sidious is always there.
Yeah.
He's always there when it happens.
That was such a good performance, though, by Ian McDiarmid.
Absolutely perfect. And I loved how they made him look a little younger under that hood.
Yeah, because I guess this is pre-Attack of the Clones, right? So he's not a hideous gargoyle yet. He's just his usual self. And like to see him like dressed in the Sith Lord cloak, but having the senator's voice.
Yeah.
I thought that was really a cool juxtaposition. And it was a different, like more understated performance, but it was still very cruel. And the way Sidious twists people by telling them the truth is so interesting to me. Can I also just say that I wrote this scene?
Oh!
This is the exact scene, basically, from the last chapter of my The Dark Side of Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's literally the same location and everything. Like,
so maybe Filoni is paying attention.
yeah, I was right. Right. Give me credit.
That's why it was a good episode, girl, because they took your writing.
If you're going to take my idea of like having your new apprentice show up, but also have a nice Jedi following, and you have to prove your loyalty by killing the Jedi, like that was my idea, but it's fine.
All right, all credit goes to you because it was a good episode.
I'm awaiting my check. No, I liked that one. I think that one was my favorite.
The next one is up there with mine. I mean, episode 4 was one of my faves. Episode 5 was one of my faves. No, not because Anakin was in it, but because of the symbolism. They tied it together. They wrapped it up. And it's a big deal to me how tragic the ending is that we know in season 7 of Clone Wars, how Ahsoka had to fight off the clones that she literally practiced with. And the fact that it was Anakin who rather roughly trained her. Yeah. But I get his point. Like, I understand, you got to get up, you got to fight, you got to do this because you're going to be in a position where it's not droid balls firing at you.
Right.
You're not going to be expecting this. You have to read the people around you, and it turned out to be the clones, and they're all happy and joking, and Rex is there, and we're all happy. Everyone's happy again, and we're rooting for Ahsoka, and then the very end, she's literally walking into what ends up being the very end of the Clone Wars, and they're all going to try and kill her. That is why I liked this episode, because it had a direct connection, and the fucking irony of it all, the sadness in the fact that Anakin was trying to protect her, and Anakin caused all this. Like, it's just so and that's why I love it.
Yeah, that without that ending, I think this would have been a much weaker story.
Much weaker.
But the fact that they tied it to season 7 made it really beautiful.
Yeah, and just a touch of season 7 at the end. They didn't have to replay it. We all know what happened in season 7. We all know.
Yeah. Just enough.
Just enough.
Well, and to have Rex say, like, hope all that training pays off now.
That's just terrible. But man, can she fight. Watching Ahsoka fight is one of the finest things in Star Wars.
Yeah, and her outfit looked way cooler.
Way cooler.
The tube top that they had her in.
Yeah. Yep. Fix that.
I was really annoyed with this until they tied it to season 7, because no one did that to Obi-Wan. No one trained Anakin that way, and they were fine in battle. So why be so hard on Ahsoka? Like, I felt like there should have been a moment where she was like, when she was saying this is impossible, Anakin should have had to do it and prove to her that it is possible.
True. It also takes me back to when they eventually get to Mortis, and her figure, her vision of her older self is like, your master asked too much of you or expects too much of you or something. It kind of played into that.
Yeah, he's actually putting you in danger.
Yes, exactly. So I thought of that watching the episode, but I also saw that, Vader's ruthlessness that comes out. Mm-hmm. Just the non-stop.
Yeah.
Just go, like never-ending pain and stuff. That was kind of a little nugget of that coming out.
Yeah.
And Anakin's young at this point, like younger.
Totally.
I loved his hair.
I know. His
Yummy.
was much better than Obi-Wan's. But I did like that, actually, because it kind of made me a little bit afraid of Anakin.
Right?
Because it's like, he's like being a really ruthless teacher, and like, I wouldn't thrive with a teacher like that. That would actually break my spirit. Yeah. So I don't know what that says about Ahsoka, but it says a lot about Anakin. To want to do this and train her this way is kind of a sign of his fear of loss as well.
Well, I was just going to say, he's so afraid of losing that he'll go to any length to ensure that he doesn't lose her.
Yeah.
But he does it through his own doing. Oh my God, I love this character. But like, when he's like, again, get up, again, do it, again. It's like a drill sergeant. Like,
yeah.
How many times can you get stunned?
That's the thing. I was like, is her health gonna be like, obviously her life isn't shortened because she lives to be an older character in the other stories.
Even
but
Rex
I'm just
was like, maybe we should give her a break. You think it's been too much?
Yeah, we're kind of taking this a little bit far.
Anakin's like, no, get back to work. I mean, it was a lot.
Yeah, it was crazy. Well, and the fact that they're like in a hangar far away, like where Obi-Wan and none of the other Jedi could
they
see,
couldn't tell. Mm-hmm.
Kind of implies that he knew what he was doing. It wasn't quite a good thing, but I don't know. I was really like, I liked seeing Obi-Wan for 2 seconds, and James Arnold Taylor's performance was great for the 2 lines they gave him.
I know, I wanted more.
Yeah, like, I don't know. They don't really see, and honestly, people have said, like, give us the OBT in the Tales of the Jedi. I was like, don't do that. Like, I don't trust you to do that now.
Oh, you don't? Well, now that we've seen, okay, my initial reaction was, but now that I see how dark the is, we already got the dark of him and Satine, so we're good. We're fine.
Yeah. And, like, honestly, I'm afraid that they won't tie it together strongly enough.
All right, so the last episode, Resolve. Didn't like this episode either, but for anyone who's read the Ahsoka novel, it plays into the Ahsoka novel. Right. She's doing nominal work across the galaxy to stay out of hiding. I did. Okay, I liked that she was at Padme's funeral because they were friends.
Yeah, when she said that to Bail and her voice broke, that actually brought tears to my eyes.
Ashley Eckstein is Ahsoka to the end of time, and she proved it.
Yeah.
But number one, Ahsoka would not be that stupid and careless.
Exactly. And be like right in the front.
Right. Bail Organa would not be so stupid as to go and find her.
Yeah.
There's too many people around.
Yeah, he would have known better.
And they almost got caught. It's just like...
And the way he was doing the dialogue, talking to the 2 troopers.
I did like that.
And I thought, like, a trooper would know what he was doing. Like, it wasn't that clever. It's like, you're talking gibberish to me because you were over here talking to somebody else. Like, are they on the roof? Like, yeah, but they're right there.
But they can't even shoot on target, like...
They're clones, though. They weren't stormtroopers.
That's true.
I don't know. It's just me nitpicking.
No.
Truly, I liked seeing that she was still with Rex.
Oh yeah,
that actually
yes.
was. I felt very comforted knowing
too.
that like she and Rex didn't just like part ways immediately. At least they were like still together for a little while. But also like like you said, I felt like that was really overly exposing the character. I don't know. It didn't seem true to the character, honestly.
I like that they did it though, because it's like that was her mother in this lifetime. Ahsoka had a biological mother, but she doesn't remember her.
Yeah.
But she does remember Padme, and she lost both her parents technically, Anakin and Padme. And I thought it was very sweet. And actually, Padme in the, what is that? Her procession, to where she's gonna be for the rest of her days. She looked very beautiful. They did a good job, like mimicking Revenge of the Sith. I don't know. I just don't think Ahsoka would have been that careless.
Yeah. I don't think she would have been that close. If she was there, she wouldn't have been close.
No.
But I feel like she would have gone back
like after the
some
fact.
other time. Yeah, when there was no one there, to visit the tomb on her own. Which I suppose, I don't know, there was the guard, right? Don't they like leave a guard of her handmaidens there? So maybe she couldn't have done that. But I don't know. I felt like the beginning of the episode, like it should have been 2 episodes. It should have been that.
True.
Like, and flesh that out a little more. And then it should have been the farm story, should have been its own story. They were so separate, honestly. The only thing tying them together was Bail's comlink. And like Ahsoka deciding she was ready to fight again. But I don't know, it just really didn't feel like a tight connection. They felt like 2 different stories. And
well, also,
I don't know.
I would not have given the guy who turned me in and killed an entire village the rite of passage with Bail Organa. Him.
Yeah,
he can't be trusted.
That's the thing. Like, I felt the same, that he couldn't be trusted. Of course, she would be a Jedi, she would be... Yeah. Well, she's not a Jedi.
No, right.
She says, I am no Jedi. But yeah, the very fact that the entire village was destroyed and killed, yeah, that was horrific, honestly.
Yeah. And they showed droids dying. Can we f***ing stop? Like, one fell over... completely on fire, and he was still trying to like carry bales of hay. I hate that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be negative, folks. I'm just telling you, this was a lot, and all at once it was even more.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Filoni is the one who always says that Star Wars is supposed to leave you feeling hopeful. He always says that.
This did not.
No, it didn't. It really didn't. And like, just because we end on Ahsoka deciding to go back into the cause and fight, like, and we know that means she's stepping into the timeline of rebels, at that point. Like, it's not enough to leave me feeling all warm and fuzzy inside.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked how she handled the Inquisitor
fantastically.
In 2 seconds.
I mean,
no problem.
It was just like Vader in Kenobi when he basically disarmed Reva. Well, I mean, without the playing around that Vader did.
Right. It actually reminded me of Obi-Wan and Maul from Rebels.
Or that, yes.
Because it was so fast that it was just like she's at the top of her game and this is no challenge at all. This Inquisitor.
Who was the Inquisitor?
Clancy Brown, who does Savage Opress.
Aha!
I love that actor. I don't know if you're asking the actor or like which Inquisitor it was, but
I got Darth Revan vibes from the mask.
Me too. That's what I thought it was at first.
Yeah, the mask was a direct copy, and I just was like, okay, this is reminiscent.
Yeah. This Inquisitor is fanboying Darth Revan.
Yeah, basically, yes. I mean, I know they all had like different helmets and different faces or whatever, but that was a little nod to Revan, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it was cool. Like that whole sequence, the lightsabers in this, like the duel with Dooku and Mace Windu on Raxus, like so cool. Like the combat was really cool. The animation's better than ever with that stuff.
They came out of the mist, like purple and blue, like appeared, and then they, twirled people around and stuff. It was really great, but yeah. So there were good
great.
moments, but overall for me, I'm rating this a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, like, maybe if they have another season, because as much as I love Filoni, this is so common. Season 1 is kind of like, meh. Think of season 1 of the Clone Wars.
Yes.
It gets started really slow.
Yeah.
And almost everyone I know who I tell to watch Clone Wars, they can't get through season 1.
Yeah.
I have to be like, just go to season 2, start there, and then you might want to go back.
Right.
And I honestly felt season 1 of Mandalorian was slow. Season 2 made me started to tie it all together, so it was more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If there's a season 2, it takes too long to get started. Like, the stories take too long to, like, start myth building and start I don't know. I just was underwhelmed, to be honest. It was fine. It was good. It was a piece of art, that's for sure.
That is for sure. I mean, Filoni's work is always artistic and well thought out, and sometimes the execution is a little off here with this one, but it's just our opinion of it. I mean, we're not stamping it as terrible. It's just, this is our opinion of it.
Considering the high hopes I had for it, and I'm not even saying that it didn't meet my expectations, because I didn't know what to expect, honestly. I don't know. I thought the stories were going to be tighter, honestly, and they just kind of left me feeling like, why should I care?
Yeah. I got you.
Unless you already love Dooku. Like, maybe if you're a Dooku fan already, this is amazing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't really care. I liked seeing Anakin and Ahsoka and Rex.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Needs more Obi-Wan.
Yep. Like a chef. More Obi-Wan. Shake some more Obi-Wan in there.
Sprinkle some Obi-Wan. Season this up a bit. Why not?
Yeah, I know. I'm biased, I guess, but Obi-Wan makes everything better.
All right, so our question to you is pretty obvious. What did you think of Tales of the Jedi? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you like some more than others? How did you feel on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being great? What did you say? What did you think? Let us know.
Yeah, and don't be shy. Like, no hate here. No shade here.
None
Just
at all.
Tell us it's a safe place to speak your mind. Next week, we have something a little lighter for you. We want to kind of lighten the mood a bit. So we're going to discuss Obi-Wan and Quinlan Voss's relationship. There's some great stuff in Clone Wars.
Yes.
And we'll just have a chat about that and hopefully laugh a little bit.
Well, we can also talk about the book with Quinlan and his girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, the Dark Disciple.
Dark Disciple, yes. There's some Obi-Wan and Quinlan moments in that book as well. So we'll cover them all, or we'll try to. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Most Things Kenobi podcast. We appreciate every single one of our patrons and are grateful for your support. If you would like to support the podcast and become a patron as well, head on over to the Most Things Kenobi Patreon. You can follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast player. And if you enjoy our podcast, feel free to rate us on Spotify and Apple. We currently have a 5-star rating everywhere, so thank you. And if you need just one place to find all of these things, head on over to mostthinkskenobi.com.
So until next time, my space twin, may the Force be with you.
Always.